In the quiet of early dawn when no voice is speaking, something greater is always speaking. But only the still can hear it, not through thunder or lightning, but through a whisper carried by the breath of the universe. On July 5, 2025, the energy of heaven aligns with earth in an uncommon way. This is not about superstition. This is about awareness. Many ask, what will happen? The right question is, will I be ready? When the wave arrives, the surfer must already be standing. He doesn't wait for the wave to lift him, he trains before it comes. July 5th is not a date to fear, but a date to prepare for. In the Shaolin tradition, we train not for the battle, but so that the battle never catches us unready. The same is true here. Spiritual preparation is the quiet forging of the soul. It begins in discipline and ends in awakening. Every signal the universe sends is an invitation. Not everyone sees it, not everyone accepts it, but for those who are aligned in body, breath, and mind, revelation comes like lightning into a clear sky, a moment that transforms the inner world, not because the world outside changes, but because you finally see it as it is. You are being called, not with shouts, but with silence, not with fear, but with fire. And this fire is not outside of you, it is inside, waiting. July 5, 2025 is not about prediction, it is about position. Where will your soul stand when the door opens? The door only opens for the one who knocks, with patience, humility, and courage. In the stillness of the early morning before the world awakens, there is a language that speaks louder than sound. This language is silence. It does not force itself upon you, nor does it compete with the noise of everyday life. It is subtle, gentle, and yet it carries the weight of the entire universe. In the ancient Shaolin teachings, silence is not the absence of sound, it is the presence of awareness. It is the space between thoughts where truth reveals itself. When your mind becomes quiet, your surroundings become alive. The rustling of leaves becomes a message. The rhythm of your breath becomes guidance. The universe does not shout, it waits. It is only when we slow down and become still that we begin to realize the universe has always been speaking to us. We just weren't listening. Modern life is fast, loud, restless. We chase answers in noise, in movement, in constant stimulation. But spiritual truths are not found in the chase. They are discovered in stillness. If God or the divine were to speak to you today, would you hear him over the chaos of your own mind? Most people wait for a dramatic sign, a burning bush, a loud voice from the sky, a miracle to interrupt their patterns. But the sacred does not compete with noise. It waits for you to choose silence. This is why in the Shaolin tradition, we train the body, the breath, and the mind to create a vessel that is still enough to receive clarity. July 5, 2025 is not a prophecy of external explosions. It is a call to internal alignment. What you perceive on that day will depend entirely on your ability to be present. You see, the deeper truth is this: silence is not empty. It is full of potential, full of energy, full of unseen movement. It is in silence that ideas are born, in silence that fears are faced, in silence that the soul stretches out to connect with the divine. Most people are uncomfortable with silence because it confronts them with their own thoughts, their unresolved emotions, and their unhealed past. But this confrontation is necessary. To truly hear what the universe has to say, you must first listen to what your inner world is screaming. Do not fear the silence. Enter it as a warrior enters battle, not to fight but to understand. In this sacred space where breath becomes slower and the heart becomes softer, revelation is possible. On July 5th, many will look outward for meaning, but the ones who are prepared will look inward and discover that the message has already been written on the walls of their soul. In Shaolin philosophy, silence is a teacher, and like any great teacher, it does not spoon-feed answers. It allows the student to struggle, to reflect, to arrive at the insight by their own effort. This is not weakness, it is wisdom. When you sit in silence, you are training your capacity to perceive truth without filters, without distraction. You begin to understand that nature, time, and energy are always in harmony. They do not rush, they do not panic, they do not shout. The question is not whether something will happen on July 5th. The question is whether your inner world is quiet enough to receive what is already being revealed. The universe has already begun its alignment. The energy has already started moving. The whisper has already been spoken. All that remains is for you to hear it. And for that, you must become silent. Before a seed can break through the soil and become a tree, Conditions must first align: sunlight, water, fertile ground, and time. In the same way, before divine revelation can manifest in your life, you must first come into alignment. What is alignment? It is the harmony between your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. Most people expect transformation to come to them while they remain unchanged. But the reality is that the universe only reveals its deeper truths to the one who is prepared to carry them. Just like a locked door will only open to the one with the right key, so too will truth unveil itself only to the one who has cultivated inner balance. Alignment is not something you stumble into, it is something you train into existence. July 5, 2025 is not merely a date marked on a calendar, it is a point of convergence. But to access what converges, you must first become clear in yourself. In the Shaolin tradition, alignment begins with discipline. Not rigid control, but conscious practice. You align your breath through Qigong, you align your body through stillness and movement. You align your mind through focused presence. When these three aspects, the breath, the body, and the mind, work in harmony, you begin to vibrate at a frequency where clarity is no longer rare. And from this clarity, understanding comes naturally. Too many people seek answers externally when their inner world is in disorder. They look to the sky hoping to be saved, while ignoring the misalignment in their daily thoughts and behaviors. Revelation is not an external phenomenon, it is an internal realization that radiates outward. On July 5th, the veil may lift for many, but only those in proper alignment will have the eyes to see and the ears to hear what is truly being shown. Alignment does not require perfection, but it does demand presence. You must become aware of your contradictions, the things you say versus the things you do, the goals you speak of versus the habits you maintain, the peace you seek versus the chaos you create. These contradictions dilute your spiritual signal. When your intentions, words, and actions contradict each other, the path becomes foggy. But when all three move in the same direction, like an arrow released from a bow, energy flows without obstruction. This state is not achieved by chance, it is cultivated. The Shaolin monk spends years refining small movements, not because the movement is everything, but because the precision reflects the mind behind the motion. In the same way, your external actions reflect your internal alignment. You cannot fake spiritual readiness, you must embody it. And embodiment begins in the smallest of moments: how you breathe, how you walk, how you speak to others, and how you speak to yourself. July 5, 2025 will be a mirror. It will not change you. It will show you who you already are. If you are in alignment, it will magnify your vision. If you are in disorder, it may amplify your confusion. The energy that comes is neutral. It is your inner condition that determines how it will affect you. This is why alignment must come first. It prepares the soil of the soul. It creates the container that can hold divine insight, without it spilling into ego or fear. In the days leading up to this moment, it is not more knowledge you need, it is more alignment. Take time to check your posture, not only of the body, but of the mind and the spirit. Are you leaning forward in fear? Are you holding back in doubt? Or are you standing tall in clarity and stillness? Revelation, when it arrives, is not given randomly. It flows into those who are ready to hold it. So if you seek the truth of what will come, prepare not by asking more questions, but by aligning your life to be the answer. Preparation is not merely an act, it is a mindset, a way of being. It is a silent agreement between your present self and your future destiny. When we prepare, we honor what is to come. We acknowledge that something greater is approaching and we make ourselves ready, not with anxiety but with focus. One of the most misunderstood ideas in the spiritual journey is the belief that transformation will arrive by chance. That one day, when the stars align or fate smiles, we will be changed. But true transformation does not work like that. It does not crash into your life like an uninvited guest. It arrives like a teacher to a disciplined student. You must be prepared to receive it. Preparation is the sacred work done in solitude, in silence, in repetition. It is invisible to others, but the results, when the moment arrives, are undeniable. In the Shaolin temple, before one performs a form or engages in combat, there is always a ritual of preparation, not to entertain, not to impress, but to align. The breath is centered, the feet are grounded, the eyes become focused. This ritual is not superstition, it is science. It trains the nervous system to respond with clarity instead of panic. The same applies in life. Many will arrive at pivotal moments, opportunities for growth, challenge, or revelation, but few will be prepared, and in that lack of preparation, the moment is lost. They say, the moment was not meant for me, but in truth, they were not meant for the moment. The opportunity is never the problem. The question is always, were you ready to receive it? When we speak of something big arriving on July 5, 2025, we do not speak of a handout from the universe. We speak of a test of how you have been living up to this point, and whether you can walk through the door when it opens. Preparation is the discipline of consistency. It is the willingness to do small things daily with great attention. The untrained mind resists this because it seeks immediate results. It wants transformation now, without the labor. But spiritual mastery does not bend to impatience. It rewards those who are willing to train in obscurity, to wait before dawn, to repeat movements 1,000 times without applause. This is not punishment, it is purification. Every breath taken in awareness sharpens the mind. Every repetition deepens the body's memory. Every act of preparation clears a layer of internal resistance. You are not preparing for a date on the calendar. You are preparing for the version of yourself that must emerge on that day. If you want the revelation of July 5 to change you, then begin preparing now, not only externally, but deeply internally. Start by asking, where is my mind undisciplined? Where is my heart still unready? What habits must I release? And what focus must I cultivate? Do not confuse waiting with preparing. Many people wait passively, hoping that something outside them will ignite the fire within. But true preparation is active. It is movement without noise. It is action without announcement. Just as a tree strengthens its roots long before its branches touch the sky, your growth must begin beneath the surface. You may not feel the change each day, but change is happening. And then one day, when the conditions are right, everything blooms at once. That day may be July 5, or it may not. But it does not matter. Because for the one who prepares, every day holds the seed of transformation. In the Shaolin way, we do not prepare only for the event. We prepare so that no event can shake us. When the storm comes, the prepared man does not run. He stands still, he breathes. And because he has prepared, he is not overcome. He becomes the transformation itself. In a world addicted to movement, stillness has become a forgotten power. We equate activity with progress, noise with significance, speed with success. Yet the great truths of life are never revealed in haste. They do not shout over the clamor of daily demands. They arrive quietly in the pauses between breaths, in the sacred stillness between thoughts. Stillness is not passivity, it is presence. It is not idleness, it is insight. In the Shaolin tradition, before any warrior moves, he first becomes still. This is not ritual. It is wisdom. The body is still, the mind is still, and in that stillness the warrior becomes one with the moment. Likewise, if you want to access your inner truth, not the truth fed to you by society, but the one that lives in your spirit, you must stop running, stop chasing, stop distracting, and simply become still. The modern mind fears stillness because in stillness we are confronted with what is real. Without the distractions of devices, tasks, and conversation, we come face to face with ourselves, our thoughts, our insecurities, our unresolved pain. But this confrontation is not a punishment, it is a purification. The mind is like a muddy pond. When stirred constantly, it remains cloudy. But if left undisturbed, the mud settles and clarity returns. Stillness is the sacred act of allowing the mud to settle. It is not easy. In fact, it may be the hardest discipline of all, but it is also the most essential. On July 5, 2025, when the spiritual current heightens, only the still will perceive it. The agitated mind will miss it entirely, consumed by its own inner noise. This is why you must begin now, training yourself to sit in silence, to observe without judgment, to listen beyond words. Only then will truth rise to the surface. In the temple, monks are taught that stillness is not about controlling the mind, it is about understanding it. You do not silence thoughts by force. You watch them, you breathe with them, you let them pass, and slowly, like waves retreating from the shore, they lose their power. What remains is presence. In presence, you do not think you know who you are without needing validation. You know what matters without needing explanation. This knowing is the fruit of stillness. It is not gathered from books or borrowed from teachers. It is born from direct experience. When people ask, how do I find my purpose? The answer is often hidden beneath layers of noise. In stillness, those layers peel away, not all at once, but gradually, like mist lifting from the mountains. Clarity begins to emerge. This is the path, not outward, but inward. And the doorway to that inward path is stillness. Many prepare for transformation by doing more effort, more goals, more noise. But the wise understand that the most powerful shift often comes not from doing, but from being. Stillness reconnects you with your natural rhythm, your intuitive intelligence, your divine essence. It reminds you that beneath all striving, there is already wholeness. And from that wholeness, wisdom flows. On the day of spiritual significance, July 5, 2025, you do not need to chase revelation. You need only to be open enough, silent enough, and still enough to receive it. The energy of that day will not bend to the hurried or the distracted. It will speak to those who have trained themselves to listen deeply, not with their ears, but with their soul. So be still, like a mountain, calm, like deep water, and in that stillness, the truth will not only visit you, it will recognize you. Faith without movement is like a blade never drawn. It holds potential, but it changes nothing. To believe is powerful, but to act upon that belief is transformative. Many people carry faith as an idea, a philosophy, or a comforting thought. But real faith is not passive. It is kinetic. It lives in your decisions, your behavior, your daily practice. To say you believe something is one thing. To restructure your life around that belief is another. On the path of self-mastery and spiritual awareness, belief alone is not the final destination. It is the spark, but the fire is fed by consistent action. In Shaolin teaching, when a student proclaims their intention to walk the path, the master does not ask them to speak more. He asks them to begin, to rise early, to train the body, to face discomfort, not because the belief is doubted, but because belief must be verified through embodiment. On July 5, 2025, the world may shift in ways unseen by the casual observer, but for those who have believed and acted, it will be a moment of alignment, confirmation, and awakening. The energy of transformation will not descend randomly. It will move toward those who have prepared themselves through action. Action is the grounding of faith. It is the bridge that connects the invisible world of intention with the visible world of results. If you believe you are meant for more, show it by how you speak, how you walk, how you treat others, and how you train your mind. Waiting for divine timing while making no internal change is like planting no seeds and expecting a harvest. The Shaolin way reminds us, discipline is the highest form of self-respect. Action is not a burden. It is the sacred ritual that transforms belief into reality. Faith that remains inside the mind is easily stolen by doubt, by delay, by the discouragement of others. But faith that is lived out loud through movement, repetition, sacrifice, and practice becomes unshakable. You do not need loud declarations. You do not need to convince anyone of your path. Let your actions speak. Let your consistency speak. Let your transformation speak. The energy of July 5th will not knock on the doors of those who merely hoped. It will enter the homes of those who prepared space for it. This is not punishment. It is universal law. Just as water flows to the lowest point, energy flows to the open vessel. And the vessel must be prepared not just by desire, but by discipline. By building routines that reflect your purpose. By removing distractions. By choosing long-term clarity over short-term comfort. Faith chooses the destination. Action becomes the vehicle. In martial training, the student who believes they can master the form does not simply imagine it. They rise before the sun, they strike, fail, breathe, sweat, and repeat. Not once, but thousands of times. Faith gives them the reason. Action gives them the result. This same principle applies to your spiritual readiness. If you believe something significant will unfold on July 5, then do not wait idly. Prepare your mind. Clean your habits, strengthen your awareness, deepen your meditation. Let your life become a reflection of your belief. The universe respects movement. It mirrors effort. When you move toward transformation with faith-backed action, life meets you halfway. This is the path of mastery, not just to believe something is possible, but to live as though it already is. Not to wait for the signs to convince you, but to become the sign for others. Action is the final and most necessary step. Without it, belief is like a bird with no wings. alive but unable to rise. The date July 5, 2025 is not about what will happen around you. It is about what must awaken within you. Do not be distracted by spectacle. Look deeper. The truth is rarely found in the noise. It is discovered in the space where stillness meets readiness, where breath meets belief, and where preparation meets action. This path is not for those who wait to be told. It is for those who are willing to train, to align, to listen, and to move before the moment arrives. Just as the archer draws the bow before the target appears, you must draw your awareness now. Sharpen your discipline now, strengthen your inner stillness now, because when the shift comes, it will not wait for you. It will pass like the wind, visible only to those who have become still enough to feel it. So I say to you, do not only listen, transform. Do not only believe, train. Do not only hope, act. Because when that moment arrives, it will not ask you, are you afraid? It will ask you, are you ready? And your life, your preparation will be the answer.